Welcome to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship, where we keep it real about what it takes to build, grow, and thrive. Here, you'll hear the unfiltered journeys of women entrepreneurs from everywhere, the wins, the setbacks, the lessons, and the behind the scene truths of aligning, starting, and scaling our businesses with purpose. Because let's be real, this road ain't always pretty. From battling self doubt to juggling responsibilities and facing the pressures to have it all figured out, this hustle can be pretty heavy. That's why this space exists to fuel you with the motivation, drop strategic gems on the topics that matter most, and remind you you are not in this alone. This is the Woman's Hustle. Hey, welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It is your girl, Kisha. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started, make sure that you guys have subscribed to the channel, to the podcast. This is a new season of the Woman's Hustle, so you are going to get some elevated conversation, but also some elevated knowledge. Today's episode is going to be no different. Listen, the one thing I know when I started in entrepreneurship is I wanted to start my business and had no idea from the financial perspective, right? And when we step into that, the common goal is for us to make money, right? So we want to make money, we want to build freedom, we want to create the impact. But what often gets overlooked is the competency that we need to have to make that happen, right? So today's conversation is going to dive a little bit into that. We're going to share some thrills, some spills, but we're also going to talk about why it's not okay to try to figure these things out alone. So I have my lovely guest here, and I'm going to let her do the honor of introducing herself. Hello.
Hello, Kisha. Always good to talk with you. I am Kim Butler, and I've been helping people with their personal and business finances for over 30 years, all across the country. And I'm so grateful to have a practice that does that work. I have a great team behind me. And my favorite question of people is, how do you learn best? Because I like to know, do you want to read? Do you want to watch? Do you want to listen? Would you rather get your hands on things? In my career, I have created learning material for all of those modalities. So just by way of introduction, I have a whole bunch of books on Amazon. They're of course available in soft cover Kindle and Audibles. Love Audibles, right? And then I have also over 600 podcasts of my own called the Prosperity Podcast. So Kisha and I have had fun talking about podcasting capabilities. And then, of course, a YouTube channel. And for those of you that like to learn by getting your hands on things, I create puzzles. I love to do puzzles myself. Again, the team helps immensely. But it's interesting because personal and business finance, really at the elemental level of the game where most entrepreneurs start out,
Right.
are no different. And so not only have I helped people with personal finances, I've been an entrepreneur, seen lots of entrepreneurs both
Absolutely.
thrill and spill, right? So me included,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so happy to share some of the
I am
learnings.
just super excited. First of all, her name is Prosperity Thinker. So that right there just gives you that sense of abundance and just like real growth. But I think I want to ask this question to you because I think sometimes and I definitely was used to be that person, but the difference between like financial competency and like making money. Because there's a difference between the two, right? Could you share that with us?
Well, you said it so well. So earning an income, making money, having a profitable business is a skill, yet keeping that money is not the same skill. And so we know across this world of probably thousands of entrepreneurs that have made amazing amounts of money and
Right.
literally had nothing. And sometimes it is because of business, but sometimes it's because of their personal habits as well. Somebody told me a story just the other day. This guy had sold his business for around $40 million
Mhm.
and invested in what he thought was going to be his next business. And it just kept taking more and more money and more and more money and more and more money. And he found himself at around age 50 with not a dime. Like he had literally invested and lost it all, $40 million. So that happens. And I have seen so many people invest and lose.
Yeah.
You know, we think the verb invest means that we're going to win.
Right.
And losing is all about learning, right? I'm all about the winnings and the learnings.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Learnings, plural, is a word.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, as it relates to investing, it's really hard to come back from that. It's hard mentally, and it's
Yeah, I was
also
just gonna
hard
say that.
financially.
Absolutely, because I think people and I know as working with other businesses who are in either the visionary stages or in the startup processes, they believe that they can adopt and have that same mindset that may be a little outdated, and they feel like they can bring that into the new journeys that they're trying to come on, and that's on a personal note too. But I learned that with me, I was going through the personal transformation when I launched Upgraded Mindset. So the personal transformation kind of was like a sweet coincidence, right, for me, but I definitely have had a lot of lessons, people. And I tell people all day, I'm not that entrepreneur who's going to tell you, "Oh, I make 6 figures every month." I'm not that entrepreneur, but I am an open-minded entrepreneur, and that to me has the wealth building mindset all in itself. Just share a little backstory about you and how prosperity thinkers even came to fruition.
Absolutely. Well, I started dealing with money when I was in 4th grade
Mm.
because my parents bought me a milk cow, like a for real. Yes, Guernsey was the brand, they're
Oh my
brown.
god.
Yeah, milk cow. And my grandpa, who lived on the farm with us, my parents were teachers. So the farm was just kind of a part time summer
Okay.
activity for us. But obviously, milking cows is a 365 twice a day deal.
That part.
And so my sister later got one also, and we had more milk than our family could deal with. So we sold the milk for $1 a gallon. This is in the 70s, out of our garage with a refrigerator and sometimes out of the cooler of our car at church.
Wow.
So I actually, as like a 5th grader, a 7th grader, a ninth grader, I earned a lot of money, right? Like I
Yeah.
knew how to do that. I progressed up through various cows. I was very involved in 4-H at the fairs. I won a lot of shows, so I got a lot of attention. So there was a lot of earned money. Now, thankfully, inside the 4-H structure, they tell you how to keep good records and also how to save for the future. Now, we talked about investing as a verb, saving is a verb, and it's a noun also, obviously,
Yeah.
because you want to save to get up savings built. But then you've got to
Right.
store savings. So that's the verb noun connection. And savings, if you look at the typical landscape of financial advisors and people that help with money, savings is not what they want to talk about. Savings is boring. Savings is for children.
Mhm.
Savings loses money. Savings is for losers. I mean, fill in the blank a million times, right? Nevertheless, the act of saving as a verb and then the act of storing savings as a noun is the number one skill that entrepreneurs want to
Mm,
build, because with savings, we can invest in ourselves and we
yeah.
can invest in our learnings and we can invest in our companies. And I look at my number one investment as my own skills and talents and improving them, as well as things like marketing programs for my company.
I love
So,
that.
prosperity thinkers really has been around all of that time. Okay, maybe not since 4th grade, but it was taught to me early on that what I had in my head and what I was thinking about made a difference. And so, I mean, when you're dealing with animals, you've got to have your wits about you, right? Like stuff happens that's bad. And so, for example, there was a pig that I had invested in and went to the show ring, and I had trained the pig, and you show a pig with a cane. So the pig should know how to go left or right or stop or go based on what you
Yeah.
do with the cane. And this pig wasn't having it in the show ring, like flat out wasn't having it. Didn't
Wow.
matter that it was doing just fine the day before. Like it was
Right.
penning me in the corner and would not give up. And I had to do nothing. Like I could have stood there
Yeah.
and cried. I'm in the show ring. There are other
Yeah.
pigs doing what they're supposed to do. The judges are there. The crowd is there. I've got this expensive pig that I expect to do well, and it's just not happening. And so I had to get my wits about me quick because standing there and crying wasn't exactly going to help. In the end, 2 grown men with boards had to shove the board in the pig's nose and shove it out of the ring. And I got nothing for my pig. And so these are the kinds of lessons as
Yeah.
entrepreneurs that we get to deal with. And again, savings, because I had cash. So I want to just take 1 minute here and address
Yeah. Go
debt.
ahead.
because I had cash, I was able to suffer the loss of that pig and go on and get another pig for the next year. If I hadn't had cash and liquidity, think about the business lessons that this exists in, because everybody's uber focused on paying off debt. I'm going to say that's the wrong focus. You want to build cash and liquidity first, because otherwise you have to go back into debt to solve emergencies
Just
or take advantage of opportunities. So please, please, in your businesses and in your personal life, build liquidity. And we'll talk about how to do that.
yeah, I love that. And I think that because I think that that's what society tells us, right? And we want to be upstanding citizens. However, we're learning more and more, and y'all know I'm not going to bite my tongue, that the American dream is capped, right? You have to generate your own American dream. And it doesn't involve some of the things that 30, 40 years ago that we may have thought that it did. So being open-minded to say, you know what, I'm going to build my American dream. That's probably so critical to me. And I think that especially as my business grows, my habits had to adjust. And you spoke to that a little bit. We've got to adjust the habits. You can't bring the habits in from when you were in the visionary stage or when you're in the startup phase to where you're in the scaling phase. There's differences, with that. And like as you help businesses and as you help yourself, like what was like the turning point moments for you to say, you know what, this can't work anymore? Like, what should someone look for when they are trying to scale? What should they look at?
So, my own business coach, Dan Sullivan, a strategic coach, has a great saying, and it's the skills that got you out of Egypt will not get you into the promised land.
Mm,
Isn't that a good one? So, Dan
that is a
Sullivan, the
great one.
skills that got you out of Egypt will not get you into the promised land. And so, to me, it's all about team. I learned early on to stop using the word I and always use the word we, even
Yeah.
if it was just literally me and a part time VA, right? And now that I have a larger team and we're always looking at this space of
Mhm.
is scaling the right thing for our company to do? And sometimes scaling means different things to different people. But
Right,
the
right.
key to me is the team. Dan Sullivan actually has another book called Who, Not How. And so
Ooh,
that's
I
by
have to look
Dan
that
Sullivan
up.
and Ben Hardy, Who, Not How. And the team, as the team is building and progressing and scaling occurs, has to get shifted. And that's hard, right?
Yeah,
Now, I have some team members that have actually been with me for 30 years, which is pretty cool.
I love that.
And just recently, I had to make a shift in a team member. And actually, in a couple weeks, we're adding another team member. And so, this is the difference to me. In the startup phase, you're doing everything that you can do, you're pulling out all the stops, you're the chief cook and bottle washer.
Mhm.
In the scale phase, you've got to do only what you're good at and let other team members do what they're good at, and that brings you together into a space that I like to call 1+1 = 11. So,
Ooh,
the old saying 1+1 = 3, like that's cool. We all know it equals 2, but 3, it
right.
implies a bump up, right?
Absolutely.
Well, obviously, if you put the one and the one together, you get the number 11. And to me, that means an exponential impact. That's
Yeah,
what happens when you scale, and you can
it is
only do
fact.
that with a team.
I love that. And I cannot stress that enough. People are like, I can't afford. I can't afford. I truly believe that that's a mindset thing,
Yep.
right? It is a mindset thing because you can afford. You have to really look at what you have to scale back. It could be things from a personal level.
Yes.
Listen, you are starting a business. Right. So that means there are things that you are going to have to, and I'm going to use this word sacrifice in order for that business to thrive. If you're just wanting to say, "Oh, I got a business," and I know there are people out here who wanna do it just to say that, but there's no prosperity, there's no growth, there's no leveling up in any way, shape, or form, and it's frustrating because a lot of these people have great ideas, but they're in their own way.
And that thinking is so easy to shift. That's what is the cool thing, and it's free.
Yeah,
Right? It doesn't cost you anything
that
to shift your thinking. So, a quick story, I have a friend that learned how to fly a helicopter,
mhm,
and he's up in the helicopter in the air and he's over a football field and the instructor is trying to have him land on a pizza box in the football field
Oh,
and he's
wow.
having trouble and the instructor says it's your thought. Like what you're doing with your thumb on the joystick is the right thing, but your thought is not on that pizza box. Your thought is, "Oh, I don't want to hit, the sides,
Yeah.
the bleachers or whatever." And so if you'll shift your thought and put it on the pizza box, you'll land the helicopter, which of course he did the very next time. I find it, we have a puppy, and a new dog.
Yeah.
Same thing with the
Oh,
dog. Like I have to be uber focused to get the dog to do what I want it to do. Now,
right.
as it progresses, I won't have to be as uber focused. But
Yeah.
again, that's just a shift in thought that can happen that fast.
Absolutely. Y'all know I talk about mindset all day, every day. And it's like, even I can get in my own way sometimes, but then I have to like remember, right? Sometimes it's okay to go back to the beginning of the thought process. Why are you doing this? What are you doing these things for? Right. And I've had to do that in different areas of my business, like when it comes to maybe introducing new opportunities for the business, creating new educational resources. I have made a complete shift within the business. Although I'm still going to coach forever, I'm now stepping more into the educational realm of things, into more of the public speaking realm of things. So there has a shift, and I had to have that conversation with my mentor and coach. Like, these are the things that I'm wanting to shift into. I love coaching, but I am trying to be prosperous with my business. So other levels of things that I still love to do had to be incorporated into those things. And I think that as businesses grow, and I do want to ask you that, what financial habits do you think that entrepreneurs should develop to avoid like chaos later on? Because I dodged the bullet, but hey, I learned some lessons too. So
Yep.
please share.
Well, absolutely. And I actually have given your community a white paper that elaborates on this a little bit
Mhm.
because the key to sustainable success is that liquidity. It's that save first mentality that our
Yeah.
grandmothers talked to us about, right? And so, how do you do that? Well, the critical thing on both a personal level and a business level is to not put the earned income into the bill paying account. All
Mm,
right. So, on a personal level, if you earn your income, you drop it straight into your checking account with direct deposit, which most of us
right.
do, then you spend what's in your checking account. Well, most companies pay 26 times a year, but you only pay your bills 12 times a year. There's a massive difference. I mean, not only do we have two extra, we have a serious difference in cadence, like the
Mm,
timing, right? So you've got to insert another account. Now you can do this on your own, or you can reach out to us if you want a guide to come alongside you and help you a little bit.
absolutely.
But you've got to not put your earned income into the bill paying account. So at the business level, it's the same thing. You've got your business checking account, you've got payors, whatever it is that you're, whether it's commission or it's people that are paying you fees for coaching or whatever it is. Don't put that money in the bill paying account. Insert a reservoir, a separate account that's going to collect those dollars, and only put money in the bill paying account that you need to pay your bills to
Okay.
live the life you're living now as both personal and business, to run the business the way you're running the business now. And then that will just automatically collect any difference, any differential in timing, any difference like bonuses or tax refunds or
Mhm.
money that comes into the business that, was from maybe a bigger deal or what have you, will just
Right.
naturally get collected there. So that is step number one. And that is the single biggest thing that somebody can do for financial competency. Like you said
Yeah.
it well at the beginning. Yeah, everybody talks about financial literacy, but you can't homework money. You've
Come
got
on.
to experience it, you've got to live it. And so, I mean, I love catching young people at 18 or 22 when they're first
Yeah.
earning their paycheck, young business owners when they're first starting out, which might mean they're 13 or 14 years old, right?
Right. That's true.
And helping them understand the value of that liquidity, the value of separating. And again, it's just as simple as setting up a separate account.
Yeah. I love that. And woo, let me tell you something. If y'all ain't catch those gems, you better pause this part and go back and re-listen and write it down. or reach out because all of her contact details will be in the show notes, you guys. One thing that I am big on is giving you guys the resources to be able to better. This isn't just about me talking. This is about me providing you with the resources to be able to elevate and scale. It might not be with me. I'm okay. I am not the financial guru, baby. So, hey, I got somebody on here that is, okay? So, we talked a lot about numbers. We talked a lot about financial competency, literacy, and all that good stuff. For somebody that may actually feel a little overwhelmed with this conversation, what do you suggest maybe the first thing or so that they could do to say, I need to, one, reach out, or two, I need to get some paperwork in order or something like that when it comes to financial aspect?
Well, so I started our conversation with the how do you learn best question. So
Mhm.
figure that out. It's funny, some people don't know. They have to actually kind of think about that. And then and for your spouses and team members and other
Yeah,
family members, right? Like just because you're married doesn't mean you learn the same way, or just because it's a father and a son doesn't mean you're going to learn
right.
the same way. So get that clear, and then as you've identified, reach out for the things that are going to enable that learning style to actually learn. So we've got the learning thing, then we've got the money going into a separate account thing. So that's a really critical distinction. That's two. Then I
Yeah,
would identify number three as go slow and start small in the investment space. So I hinted at this earlier. I
yeah.
believe that my best investment is what I call human life value. It is my own ability as a human being. It might mean on the personal side, it might mean on the business side
Right.
to get better and better at what I'm doing and how I'm helping people and creating value in the world. I also really encourage people to be very aware of our societal construct that's called
Mhm.
retirement and how dangerous it is. So, we've kind of been talking to that 18, 22-year-old, like just save first. If you save first and you go slow and start small and you don't get hung up on too many investments, you'll be fine. But
Right.
when you get into that 40, 50, 60-year-old person, we've got to understand that the societal construct, that's all it is, that was started in Germany in the 1930s and came over to the United States pretty shortly thereafter, which chose age 65 as if it had any meaning. Now, back then it did. But
Right.
what has happened is it didn't get moved forward with longevity. So today, if we had moved forward age 65 forward with longevity the way that we should have, got any guess as to what it is?
No, I don't. I'm clueless.
Seven.
Wow.
Seven is the new 65. Now, I'm close to 60 myself. I cannot tell you how much this has helped me because I haven't done everything in my life and in my business that I want to do. And
Right.
if I'm 60 and I've got this age 65 baloney in my head because it's just a number that was put on a page, then I'm going to feel very limited. I'm probably going to feel pretty
Yeah.
stressed because most Americans haven't saved as much as they would like.
Yes.
But I know people that have retired and they're failing at life. Now, I know people that have retired and they're winning at life too. And
Yeah,
there's,
for sure.
yeah, there's definitely
Yeah.
some people that can pull it off. But for the most part, my dad is in his mid 80s. He's still working, helping the student teachers at Oregon State, where I grew up, with their classroom activities.
Mm.
My mother in law is in her mid 80s, still working part time from home. I'm not saying you have to kill it when you're in your mid
Right.
80s, but please, please, please keep working part time. We were put on this earth to serve. We were put on this earth to create value. And so the better you can do that, the sooner that you can learn that. I talk about value creation for 3-year-olds. I have a special community under my Prosperity Parents brand that
Nice.
is literally value creation for the 3-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 7-year-old, et cetera. And then as adults, if we strive to continue to create value and serve, we will have more joy in our life. We'll have more money in our
Yeah.
life. So take the long weekends, take the vacations now, take the sabbatical if that's what it takes to get your business up and running, or maybe take a break from that business before you shift to the other one or whatever. Just keep serving, keep working.
Keep
That's going to
serving.
be so helpful for people.
I love that. I love that. And I thank you for sharing that, because one thing that I have really learned on my own journey is prosperity is like personal for me, right? I know that it doesn't look the same for everybody, and because I have now adopted that mindset of I don't want to do the same thing as everybody else, but I do want to serve. I do want to walk in my purpose and whatever that looks like, because what I realize is working for me and within my business, it's what I love. So I don't really call it work, right? But it is aligning me with my values, my systems, my beliefs now, but also my money. So because I love what I do, I'm able to make it easy to do, and I can teach you the game, but you're still not gonna be able to do it like me, right? But and I love that, just having that mindset, really being able to teach people that, but also giving them a sense of freedom financially, and giving them that level of prosperity. I think that that's great. I love your name title. If you notice, I ain't said it about 85 times already, but I just love the title because it's really a mindset thing too. You have to want to be prosperous. You have to know that you are capable, you're able, and you're willing. But there's going to be some work required to get there. So I think that is amazing. So before we head out, what's upcoming for 2026 for you? Got any plans
What
in
an
motion?
awesome question. Well, I'm super excited about two books that we have coming out. One will be my husband's first book, and it's going to be called Conscious Calculations. So, my husband is a math geek, the popular nerd of today with the
Right.
black glasses and the whole bit. And he, with our co writer, Kristen Huggins, who's been so valuable and helped me write my Busting Scarcity Mindset book, which was last year's, are going to come out with this conscious calculations book. And it's definitely for the end person, your listeners, but it's also for financial advisors that are in the space of what we call prosperity economics. Typically, this is people that utilize whole life as a product. So, WHOLE, life, like life insurance. If you're not
Yes.
familiar with that product, it's a fun one to learn about because it has supported so many entrepreneurs over so many,
That is a fact.
literally decades and even centuries.
Yes.
So, a good one to learn about. So, that's early 2026. And then my next book, which I haven't even started yet, but I'm percolating on, is going to be called Prosperity Parents. So, as I was sharing earlier, we
Yeah.
utilize the dinner table method of teaching value creation to kids, literally starting at age 2 or 3. I have grandchildren myself, and they are
Oh.
under 2. I have 2 under 2, and okay, not the baby, but the 1.5 year old. And it is about that mindset. It's
Yeah.
the child that says to mom, "I can't," and the mom that says, "Yes, you can. Let's figure out how together." That's where it really
Yes.
starts. And that's true of your sentence earlier, the "I can't afford it." You've got to shift that around. I learned this from Robert Kiyosaki and ask the question, well, how could I afford it? Or how can I afford it?
Yes. Absolutely.
Super
I
important.
love it.
So we've got the two books, and then we'll have other just additional fun things. I mean, I'm all about the new. Thank goodness I have a team that takes a great care of those that we have in our midst. I have memberships that both my husband and I offer, and his company is called Truth Concepts for those that want to peek into the numbers. But, human
Absolutely.
beings don't typically make decisions with math. We think we do,
Yeah.
but we make it all with emotion. And so that's why we have fun
That is a
together.
whole nother podcast right there. I'm telling you.
Yep, you got it.
It is facts, though. Kim, thank you so much for blessing the woman's hustle with so much knowledge. It's just amazing. And you could just tell that you love what you do. And love that you love what you do, because you are the reason why a lot of us continue to move. So thank you for dropping all of your insight, your knowledge. Thank you for sharing what you got upcoming, because again, y'all, all of that information the link for her website and all that good stuff will be in the show notes. So definitely reach out to her. Okay. This is what I do it for, guys. It's time for us to elevate. Okay. So I'm gonna get out of here, but make sure if you have not subscribed by now, Make sure that you have subscribed to the channel and the podcast. And I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. If there's anything that you want to learn about me, you already know, visit the website at www.upgradedmindsets.life. Learn more about my core 4P pillars, and let's have a conversation about elevating you and activating the best version of yourself. All right. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Stay empowered.